Tom's got it. Good job, Tom.
All right, everyone, we're going to have the 2-minute warning, so find a seat. Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to the regular meeting for the Oak Ridge City Council for June. We're glad that you're here tonight. We've got quite a bit of business to do, and we're looking forward to that. We're glad you came for it. Our invocation tonight is going to be by Pastor Rory Nave at First Baptist Church in Oak Ridge. And then our Pledge of Allegiance will be from Ruth Stewart, who is a rising fifth grader at Robertsville, and she enjoyed Arbor Day at Linden earlier this year. So she's back. So glad to have her here. So Pastor Nave, if you'd come forward, and welcome back to you, sir.
Thank you.
Everyone, please stand.
Always a pleasure to be among you all and to be invited, council members and my fellow community members. Let's pray together. Holy Creator, gracious Sustainer, Holy Inspirer, we pray that you would be among us, that your Spirit would be rich and full in this place, that as we come to important decisions about how to utilize the power that has been entrusted to us through the will of the people and through dollars given faithfully and patriotically, God, as we consider together as a community on where our priorities lie, may the Spirit that you have put into us speak clearly. May we have a heart for those who are most out of our earshot. May we have a mind for those who are most in danger. May we have understanding for people, great and small. God, we pray that you would bind us together as a community, that we would see more in common than we do in division. Pray that you would use us, each of us, all of us, as you see fit. I pray in the name of Jesus Christ. We all say, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Nave. Ruth?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Here.
Councilmember Gleason.
Here.
Mayor Gooch.
Here.
Councilmember Hammond. Here. Councilmember Hensley.
Here.
Councilmember Hope. Here. Councilmember Smith. Here. 7 members present.
7 members present. First order of business, Madam Clerk, are elections and appointments.
Yes, sir. So we have some vacancies to fill tonight on some city boards and commissions. And if we have, when I call the candidate's name for each election, we're going to do the boards one at a time. If you are here in the audience, please stand when I call your name so that everyone can see your face. So the first board that we're going to do, the first vacancy we're going to fill is on the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have 1 vacancy, and we have 4 applicants, and you're going to vote for 1 person to fill that vacancy. And our applicants are Robert Bonamart, and if you all again will stand, Harvey Goranson, Ann Miller, and Francisco Vernaza. And you all are going to vote for one. Val's going to pick up your ballots. Krista Truey, our staff attorney, is going to read the results, read the ballots to us tonight. And make sure you sign and print, if you don't mind to print your name, that way Krista can see. She's not always as familiar with your signature as probably Ms. Rackard.
Okay, Councilmember Hammond votes Ann Miller. Councilmember Smith votes Ann Miller. Councilmember Hope votes Ann Miller. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes Robert Bonamart. Mayor Gooch votes Ann Miller. Councilmember Hensley votes Ann Miller. Councilmember Gleason votes Robert Bonamart.
Ann Miller is elected with 5 votes.
Congratulations, Ms. Miller.
Okay, and our next one will be the Convention and Visitors Bureau Explore Oak Ridge Board. We do have 2 vacancies on this board, and there's 2 balance of an unexpired term. So after you do your election, we'll have to go back and determine who gets which term. So our applicants are Jason Brandt, Joshua Butcher, Amanda Caldwell, Susan Housley, Parker Jarnigan, Annie McAmis, Angie Nelson, Francisco Vernaza, and Sarah Weiland. And you're going to vote for 2.
Councilmember Hammond votes Susan Housley and Francisco Vernaza. Councilmember Smith votes Susan Housley and Angie Nelson. Councilmember Hope votes Joshua Butcher and Angie Nelson. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes Joshua Butcher and Angie Nelson. Mayor Gooch votes Joshua Butcher and Amanda Caldwell. Councilmember Hensley votes Joshua Butcher and Angie Nelson. Councilmember Gleason votes Joshua Butcher and Angie Nelson.
Angie Nelson and Joshua Butcher are elected. Each
Right.
have 5 votes.
Congratulations.
And our next one is Disability Advisory Board.
Do they need
Oh,
to make
yeah,
the
you're
term?
right. See, you guys keep me in line. Okay, so we have to do one for a term ending December 27th of 27 and one ending December of 2028. So we can entertain a motion, whoever was elected, they were elected at the same time, however you guys want to do that.
I make a motion that we elect Joshua Butcher to the term ending in 28 and Angie Nelson to the term ending in 27. Second.
Okay. Okay,
You want to call the roll?
you want me to call roll,
Oh,
or
yeah,
you
sure.
just do voice vote?
Well, we can do voice vote. We can try that.
Yeah.
All right,
that's
all
good.
those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed?
No.
It's okay. So Who were my two nays? Me. Charlie and Ellen, okay.
So 5 and 2?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay. The next one is Disability Advisory Board. Just grab me one off the top there. We have one vacancy on the Disability Advisory Board. And you're going to vote for one. And our applicants are Kristen Bird, Susan Housley, Karen Kirby, Annie McCamus, Christina Moore, Robert Pfeiffer, Rebecca Tolero, and Lee Ann Whitus. And you're going to vote for one.
Thank you. Okay, Councilmember Hammond votes Karen Kirby. Councilmember Smith votes Rebecca Tolero. Councilmember Hope votes Annie McAmis. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes Leanne Whitus. Mayor Gooch votes Annie McAmis. Councilmember Hensley votes Robert Pfeiffer. Councilmember Gleason votes Kristen Bird.
Okay, no one got 4 votes, so we'll go around 2, and we're not eliminating anyone, so.
Like the resume. Beth, why don't you announce the number of votes for each candidate?
Sure. Kristen Bird, 1 vote. Karen Kirby, 1 vote. Annie McAmis, 2 votes. Robert Pfeiffer, 1 vote. Rebecca Tolero, 1 vote. Leanne Whitus, 1 vote. And then the remaining had 0 votes.
Councilmember Hammond votes Annie McAmis. Councilmember Smith votes Rebecca Tolero. Councilmember Hope votes Annie McAmis. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes Annie McAmis. Mayor Gooch votes Annie McAmis. Councilmember Hensley votes Annie McAmis. And Councilmember Gleason votes Kristen Bird.
Okay, Annie McAmis is elected with 5 votes.
Congratulations.
Okay, and our last one is Environmental Quality Advisory Board. We have 3 applicants for 2 vacancies, so you're going to vote for 2. Our applicants are Amanda Caldwell, Susan Housley, and Sarah Wyland. So you are going to vote for 2.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Hammond votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland. Councilmember Smith votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland. Councilmember Hope votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes Susan Housley and Sarah Wyland. Mayor Gooch votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland. Councilmember Hensley votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland. And Councilmember Gleason votes Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland.
Amanda Caldwell and Sarah Wyland are elected. Amanda Caldwell got 6 votes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Sarah Wyland got 7 votes. So if you all, we do have the unexpired terms to fill. If you feel more comfortable doing it on a ballot, I do have a ballot where you could just write in, 28 or 27 by the person, or we can do a motion. It's up to you.
I make a motion.
Okay?
Sarah Wyland have the unexpired term of 28, and Amanda Caldwell have the unexpired term of 27.
Second.
Okay. So I can roll call it. You want me to roll
Okay,
call?
that's fine.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Aye.
Councilmember Gleason. Mayor Gooch.
Aye.
Councilmember Hammond. Councilmember Hensley. Councilmember Hope.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith. Okay, 6 ayes, 1 no. Okay, that
Thank you very much.
concludes those elections, and we'll have, in July, we'll have the youth elections coming up.
Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Our next item is the confirmation of the nomination of James Rushton III to the Oak Ridge Utility District Board of Commissioners.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. They're not opposed. So congratulations, Mr. Rushton, on your reelection to Oak Ridge Utility Board. Thank you, sir. Next item, Madam Clerk.
We have the appointment of a city council representative to the Youth Advisory Board Screening Panel.
Make the motion to select Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? There are none. Congratulations, Mr. Dodson.
Thank you.
And the next item is the consent agenda.
All right, with regard to the consent agenda, item M, as in Mary, is coming off the agenda and will be heard in a subsequent month. Is there a motion on the remainder of the consent agenda?
Motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Moved and seconded, and we're on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the consent agenda is adopted.
Okay, give me a second to get down
Sure.
to public hearing and first reading of ordinances. Okay, under public hearing and first reading of ordinances, we have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of Anderson County Tax Map 099F, B, parcels 050.00, 047.00, 051.00, 052.00, 044.00, 037, 053, 054, 035, and 055, containing approximately 7.29 acres, all located on East Hunter Circle and West Hunter Circle, from R2 Low Density Residential District to R2 MDO Low Density Residential District, with a Manhattan District overlay, and the official public hearing will be held on second reading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Williams?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this item is related to property, the site of the former site of the Applewood Apartments. Those were demolished back in 2018. Last year, it was purchased by a new owner. And if you paid attention to the title of the ordinance there, the owner is not looking to change the base zone of R2. What this request is to apply the Manhattan District overlay to those properties. So really, in effect, the primary difference there is that the Manhattan District overlay allows 5-foot setbacks, which are reduced from the R2 setbacks. What does not change are the allowable uses, minimum lot size and density. All those remain the same, regardless of whether or not the Manhattan District overlay is applied. Both staff support and the Planning Commission support this request. It's a good opportunity for infill development at this location. I can try to answer any questions if you have them.
Ms. Williams, as I recall, the information, the Planning Commission approved this 10-0, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Questions for Ms. Williams? Mr. Hensley?
Could you remind me what the R2 setbacks are?
The R2 setback as existing, the front setback, I believe, is 20 feet, the rear is 25 feet, and the side setback is 8 feet.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I'm curious to know why the Manhattan overlay didn't apply to these properties to begin with.
I don't have a great answer for that. Historically speaking, if you look around, the MDO is certainly more common than uncommon in that area. Typically speaking, it had been newer properties, like the area to the south of the map there doesn't have the MDO on it, but those were houses built slightly later. So I'm not sure why this area in particular never had the MDO applied.
Okay, that's interesting, because I thought it was basically based on how the utilities were laid out and so forth, and I would imagine that the Hunter Circle of properties have the same kinds of screwy utility.
Agree, yeah, this
layouts
is
we
not
have.
dissimilar.
So, just curious, thanks.
Any other questions or comments by council? Anyone in the audience wishing to address council on this matter? Seeing none, the motion is to approve on first reading.
We have 7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is adopted on first reading. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
We have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by deleting subsection E, titled area, height, bulk, and placement regulations, and substituting therefore a new subsection E of the same title in section 8.01, titled IND1 Industrial Districts, section 8.02, titled IND2 Industrial Districts, and section 8.03, titled IND3 Industrial Districts, for the purpose of requiring 0 lot line setbacks for adjoining industrial parcels, to be a Board of Zoning Appeals BZA variance request, and to require BZA to determine if building placement is compatible with existing site development and uses. And official public hearing will be held on second reading.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Williams?
So a few months ago in April, when we were doing that series of ratifications of previous ordinances, one of the ordinances that came before you was one that would allow 0-foot side and rear setbacks for industrial properties that abutted the same zone, so IND2 and IND2 next to each other, for example. Council ratified that amendment, but directed staff and the Planning Commission to review some alternatives. And so that's what you have in front of you tonight, an item that went to the Planning Commission last month and is now coming to you. And the change here is that instead of allowing a 0-foot side or rear setback by right, when you have abutting industrial districts, it would require that change to be approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals as a variance. But then it does give standards to the Board of Zoning Appeals for when they're able to grant that variance, which are that the building placement is compatible with existing site development and uses, and that all building and fire code requirements are met. So, same potential outcome, but it pushes that decision onto the BZA instead of being by right.
Questions for Ms. Williams? Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, I just want to thank you. I was the one that had asked for that, and the rapid turnaround, I really appreciate. Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I'd also appreciate what the Planning Commission and staff did in figuring out how to address this. I think this is a sensible solution, so thank you.
And that was also adopted on a 10-0 vote at the Planning Commission. All right, any member of the audience wishing to address council on this matter? Seeing none, the motion is to approve on first reading, and we're on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And it is adopted on first reading. Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Under final adoption of ordinances, we have an ordinance to amend ordinance 16-2025, which ordinance provides for a budget and appropriations for municipal purposes for the fiscal year which began July 1st, 2025, by adopting a budget and adopting appropriations by amending said appropriations, and a public hearing is required.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Before we call on Ms. Bates, I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. The public hearing is open. Is there any member of the audience wishing to address council on the proposed budget?
Amendment.
The amendments, I'm sorry, the amendments to the budget. Thank you. That's right. It's the amendments. All right. Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, Ms. Bates.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There haven't been any changes to this ordinance since the first reading. It was favorably received at Budget and Finance as well. There are amendments for Oak Ridge Schools for $300,000 for a grant that they received. The Emergency Communications Board also convened and approved these budget amendments for the ECD because they have to be appropriated at the line item, so we're simply moving money around the ECD. There is no net change at the bottom line. General fund as well, transfers and not any amendments, no change to the bottom line, but we have amended the Waterworks fund because we reclassified a project as capital maintenance, and that's the 4 amendments that we've gotten.
Questions for Ms. Bates? Anybody? That's all. It's also been to Budget and Finance. So, seeing none, we're on the board, and the motion is to approve on second reading.
Just delay in a minute. 7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the amendments to the fiscal year 2026 budget are approved.
The next item is an ordinance to provide revenue for municipal purposes for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, by imposing a tax on all property within the city, fixing the rate of the tax, adopting a budget, and adopting appropriations, and a public hearing is required.
So moved.
moved and seconded. Before we call on Ms. Bates, I'll need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Is there any member of the audience wishing to address council on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2027? Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Bates, you're recognized again.
I just passed out the new handouts. There were slight changes from the original version. There was a note that was sent out in regard to the changes that were made. If you've had a chance to read it, I'm happy to entertain any questions for it. There haven't been any other changes to the budget.
Any questions for the finance director?
Do we need a motion to amend based on the letter that was sent out?
No, there's no bottom line changes.
Okay,
This was just changes from the presentation slides from the last reading to this reading.
thank you.
Good question, Mr. Hensley, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Bates? If not, we are on the board, and the motion is to adopt the budget for 2027.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the budget is approved. Thank you, Ms. Bates. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance adopting the comprehensive plan, Oak Ridge 2045, A Century of Heritage, A Future of Promise.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. A public hearing is required, Madam Clerk?
We did that at the last meeting
So
on
we-
first reading.
So, okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Williams.
I'll just, happy to take any questions, but I'll just say that this is the first new comprehensive plan that Oak Ridge has adopted since 1988. So I'm very thankful for you all as the city council, for the city manager, and the planning commission for the support and the help during all this time, and I'm excited to get to implementation. Thank you.
Questions for Ms. Williams? Mr. Tinsley?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment that in the previous reading, we talked about, Ms. Smith suggested that we eventually may want to refine this. And that fits my sentiments exactly, because we've got one of the greatest resources that a city this size could ever have, and that's 16,000 acres out there that has like 20 miles of waterfront. And this plan does not designate that anything but FIR, which is what it was before. And that gives me great concern. And if, in looking back at our history here lately, if you think carbon rivers is a problem, wait till the federal government decides to sell 10,000 acres of the area out here without contacting the city, and we've got 3 months to decide what we want to designate as a zone. And so to me, that's an issue that we need to address in the future updates, as Ms. Smith has suggested.
Other comments or questions for Ms. Williams? If not, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the comprehensive plan, new comprehensive plan is adopted. Thank you all for your hard work. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled The Zoning Ordinance of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending Article 2, titled Definitions, to add new definitions for long-term nuclear storage, nuclear-related uses, NRC, and nuclear waste, and by amending Article 9, titled Special Districts, to create a new Section 9.11, titled Nuclear Industrial Overlay, NIO District, all for the purpose of creating an overlay district applicable to the IND2 Industrial Zoning District to identify appropriate locations for the nuclear industry in Oak Ridge, and by amending Section 8.02 titled IND2 Industrial District, subsection D4, and Section 8.03 titled IND3 Industrial District, subsection D2, to add language that excludes recycling, treatment, or disposal of radioactive or nuclear materials from uses allowed in these districts by special exception upon approval by the Board of Zoning Appeals, and a public hearing is required.
Move for approval. Second.
Moved and seconded. I'll need a motion to open the public hearing. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on this item, this agenda item? Seeing none, motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Williams?
This is second and final reading of a zoning ordinance text amendment that will both support and regulate the nuclear industry in our city. As you all are well aware, we've been through quite a few months process to develop this ordinance, both with the public, with the nuclear industries, with staff. And again, we're ready to get started and excited to have this on the books. And I'll try to take any questions if you have them.
Questions from Ms. Williams? Seeing none, then, we're on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes. Noes.
Second and final reading. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map. Hold on, make sure I'm reading the right one. I think I am. Amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance by changing the zoning district of Roane County tax map. No, this isn't the right one, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
They're almost alike. One's Heritage, one's Horizon. Okay, I got it. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the zoning ordinance, by changing the zoning districts of Roane County tax map 030, parcel 001.09, .10, .11, .12, .46, and .47, totaling approximately 146 acres from IND3 Industrial to IND2 NIO Industrial District with a nuclear industry overlay, and by changing the zoning districts of Roane County tax map 029, parcels 010.01, 02, 03, 05, 06, 07, 08, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, and Roane County tax map 030, parcels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 32, 33, 35, 36, 40, 42, 43, 44, and 45, totaling approximately 407.88 acres from IND2 Industrial District to IND2 NIO Industrial District with a nuclear industry overlay, and a public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded, and a round of applause for the clerk. She was outstanding.
You earned your money tonight.
All right, I need a motion to open the public hearing. Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, so the public hearing is open for anyone who wishes to address council on this issue. Seeing none, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Williams?
Apologies for the ordinance title first. But second, so the previous item was the text amendment that creates the nuclear industrial overlay. This item, as well as the next two, apply it to certain properties within the city. This ordinance in particular applies it to the properties Miss Hickman listed in the Heritage Center Industrial Park. And I'll take any questions if you have them.
Any questions, comments? Seeing Ms. Smith, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to comment that for people who are watching this, it appears that we're just rubber stamping stuff, but there's been a lot of discussion of these items prior to this meeting, and it's been discussed in public meetings. It's not been in private, but this is the formal end of an awful lot of gnashing of teeth.
And I might also say this was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission, 10-0.
Yes.
And you need to start giving the votes on the Planning
Yes,
Commission.
sir.
Comment.
All right, Mr. Tinsley.
Yeah, I noticed that right in the middle, there's a piece designated FIR. is that part of the nuclear overlay?
All the properties still owned by the Department of Energy are not included in this rezoning, so the property there labeled FIR will remain FIR until it's transferred into private ownership in the future.
Other questions? Seeing none, we're on the board.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved. Next ordinance, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of Roane County Tax Map 014, parcels 039.00, 02, 03, and 044.00, and Roane County Tax Map 021, parcels 002.00, 02, 04, 05, and 12, containing approximately 377.62 acres, all located within Horizon Center Industrial Park, from IND2 Industrial to IND2 NIO Industrial District, with a nuclear industry overlay, and a public hearing is required.
Move for second.
Moved and seconded. I need a motion to open the public hearing. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, keep saying aye. Aye. Is there any member of the audience wishing to address council on this item? Seeing none, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, keep saying aye. Aye. Ms. Williams?
Right, so this is application of the nuclear industrial overlay to certain properties in the Horizon Center Industrial Park, and the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this item 10-0.
Questions for Ms. Williams or comments? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I wanted to mention again that the parcel at the southwest corner of this tract is one that was made a conservation easement by Croat a number of years ago, and I believe it's in the ownership of the state now. It's not, so we should arrange to get that rezoned so it doesn't suddenly become an industrial property on a conservation easement.
Question.
Other comments, Mr. Hanson?
Ms. Smith, is that the one that's labeled Greenbelt or labeled G in the lower part of our drawing there?
No, it's labeled IND2.
Where is that?
It's at the it's the
And it now
gray-
belongs, and that
gray
part,
speckled area in the southwest corner of that property.
And
That was area 4, it was once area 4 of the Horizon Center,
right.
and it was declared it was difficult to develop, and it was made, and it's right along the Greenway Trail.
So this map is wrong?
Well, no, this map is correct. This zoning apparently is the zoning that exists, but when I brought this up at the last meeting on this, Ms. Williams indicated that no one had ever asked to change the zoning of that tract. So somehow it had been zoned industrial 2, and it remained industrial 2 after the owner established the conservation easement, and I believe transferred ownership of the property. So no one has acted to change the zoning. And for purposes of this situation, since it's IND2, it made at least as much sense to call it IND2 with the overlay as it would to call it IND2. It should be changed to something else.
Right.
And it is one that it falls in the category of potentially the category of being land which is not city-owned, that could be considered a greenbelt. So that's a topic that you've raised in the past, is something that the zoning ordinance needs to address, is
Correct.
the proper zoning of land that's supposed to be protected as open space, but it doesn't qualify for greenbelt under our current ordinance.
Well, how can we correct that dilemma?
We can't correct it tonight.
I mean, period, how are we going to correct it long-term?
I just raised it so that
Yeah.
as a reminder that we need to try to correct it long-term.
That is one of those issues that your zoning ordinance, when it's rewritten, can correct. And that's in this year's budget, so.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Heeman. Any other questions or comments? We're on the board. Motion is to approve.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved on second and final reading. Next order of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of Roane County Tax Map 040, parcels 006.00, 7, 7.01, 8, 9, 11, and 11.01, containing approximately 1,295.33 acres located off Bear Creek Road from IND2 Industrial to IND2 NIO Industrial District with a nuclear industry overlay, and a public hearing is required.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'll need a motion to open the public hearing.
Move to open the public hearing.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Is anyone in the audience wishing to address council on this matter? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right. Ms. Williams, back to you.
This is the final ordinance to apply the nuclear industrial overlay to property in the very southwest corner of the city off Bear Creek Road. This ordinance was also, or this change was also recommended unanimously by the Planning Commission.
Questions or comments for Ms. Williams? Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, this, just for community awareness, that's the TVA small modular reactor site.
Yes, plus a few other lots there on Bear Creek
Yes.
Road.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we are on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved on second reading, final second reading. Next item, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of parcels 009.00 and 009.09, Anderson County Tax Map 100B, Group B, containing approximately 7.54 acres, from B2 General Business District to R4 High Density Residential District, said parcels being located off Briarcliff Avenue, more specifically located behind 680 Briarcliff Avenue near Jefferson Middle School and the Home Depot, and a public hearing is required.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right. Is anyone in this audience wishing to address council on this issue? Seeing none, a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Ms. Williams.
This is a rezoning request for about 7.5 acres of property there off Briarcliff Road, sort of between Briarcliff Road and Jefferson Middle School and Home Depot. The request is to rezone from a commercial district B2 to a multifamily district R4, with the intention to do a multifamily development here on this previously undeveloped property. Staff and the Planning Commission support this request as a good opportunity for infill residential development in the community, and the Planning Commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval. I'll try to take any questions you have.
Mr. Dawson.
Yeah, this is a piece of property that's near and dear to my heart. Our school is right close to that, Jefferson Middle School. Spoke with the developer, and he assured me that the cedar barrens would be untouched on either side, so that was pretty good. He also said that he would try his best to make sure that we had some sort of fencing up between the school as well in the development. So he met with a lot of questions that I had, and I was very satisfied with what he came across with, so I'm supporting this.
Other comments? Seeing none, the motion is to...
Just one comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Something that doesn't show on the zoning map that's future development is the site of the planned fire department, which is in It's the squared-off area to the lower, or to the southeast of one of the parcels that's being developed, as I understand it. But I think it's worthwhile for us to note that that's there and that's part of the future neighborhood.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Any other comments? Okay. Seeing none, the motion is to approve on second and final reading.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved on second reading.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map which is made a part of the ordinance by changing the zoning district of parcel 002.00, Anderson County Tax Map 101F, Group A, containing approximately 23.62 acres, from R3 PUD Medium Density Residential District with a planned unit development overlay to R4 PUD High Density Residential District with a planned unit development overlay, and approving the associated planned unit development preliminary master plan, provided certain conditions are met, said parcel being located on Centennial Bluff Boulevard, and a public hearing is required.
Moved and seconded, motion to open public hearing. Moved and seconded, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Anyone wishing to address council on this item? Seeing none, motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Ms. Williams?
This item is a revised planned unit development, or PUD, master plan for a portion of the Centennial Bluff development on the east side of town off Edgemore Road. It results from a new developer purchasing a portion of the development, not massively dissimilar to what's previously approved, but it includes 336 multifamily units and a clubhouse to serve those units. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this item unanimously. I can take any questions if you have them.
Comments, questions? All right, motion is to approve. We're on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved on second and final reading. Next item, Madam Clerk.
It's there. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by deleting section 3.14, titled nightclubs, dance clubs, taverns, clubs, private, and lodges, and substituting therefore a new section 3.14 of this same title for the purpose of removing the prohibition on outdoor activities, removing a reference to a city code provision that is not land use related, adding daycare facilities to the list of uses that must not be within 250 feet of nightclubs, dance clubs, taverns, clubs, private, and lodges, clarifying the places of worship within the 250-foot distance requirement are those within residential districts only, and exempting mixed-use developments from the 250-foot distance requirement, and a public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Need a motion to open the public hearing. Moved and seconded. All those in favor, saying aye. Aye. Okay, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone wishing to address council on this issue? Seeing none, motion to close.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, Ms. Williams.
All right, this is a zoning ordinance text amendment related to the city's regulation on certain uses. Bars and clubs is probably the easiest shorthand to use for those. High points here are that daycare facilities are added to the list of types of uses that have to be a certain distance from bars and clubs and uses like that. And then on the flip side, mixed-use developments would now be exempt from those distance requirements, recognizing that you may have a building with residential and commercial uses within the same building. The Planning Commission did recommend unanimously to approve this change, and I can take any questions if you have them.
Questions from Ms. Williams on this matter? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we're again on the board.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the ordinance is approved on second reading. Next item, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Title 8, titled Alcoholic Beverages, Chapter 6, titled Beer and Other Light Beverages Generally, to delete City Code Section 8-607, titled Distance Requirement in its entirety, without replacement, as the section pertains to land use matters contained in the zoning ordinance, specifically Section 3.14, and is not specifically related to beer, which is the focus of this code chapter, and no public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Williams?
Believe this.
I can actually
Okay,
answer for this,
All right, thank
for Mr. Rackard. So this is the companion item to Ms. Williams' item, and since this item is obviously not beer-related, it's going to be more appropriate in the zoning ordinance, which was just passed. Ms. Rackard informed me that there's been no changes between the first and second reading, and we did discuss this. I'm the legal representative that attends the beer board meetings, and we discussed this matter, and so the beer board has heard this, and they are on board as well.
Thank you. Questions? Comments? Okay. We're on the board. Motion is to approve.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
The ordinance is approved.
Resolutions, we have a resolution approving the Community Development Block Grant 3-year consolidated plan for program years 2026 through 2028, the annual action plan for program year 2026, and the updated citizen participation plan.
Move for, go ahead. Second.
Moved and seconded. Who? Derek. Okay. Mr. Dodson. All right, now, Ms. Williams.
All right, so the city is an annual recipient of the United States Housing and Urban Development Department, HUD, Community Development Block Grant Funds. As an annual recipient of that funds, we are required by HUD to create certain planning documents, and those are the items that are part of this resolution. Those include a 3-year consolidated plan, a 1-year annual action plan related to how we're going to spend that funding and on what. And then we have also updated the city's citizen participation plan, which is again required by HUD to outline how citizens can participate in our community development block grant process. So these are HUD forms and HUD documents, but they are part of our planning for the use of our funds for the next 3 years. In 2026, or for fiscal year 2027 or 2026 dollars, we are planning a sidewalk project adjacent to the Children's Museum on West Outer Drive and Highland Avenue. And then we have additional potential sidewalk projects for the future and are also working with Recreation and Parks to identify where we can spend future years funding there as well. So that's what we're looking at in these documents, and I can try to answer any questions you have.
All right, questions or comments for Ms. Williams? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, can you outline how the priorities have changed, if any, since the last 3-year program plan? I think we did change the priorities in the last plan during the operations.
Over the last couple years, we've been doing a lot to spin down a backlog of funds. During the COVID years, we got some additional funding and did get behind in our spending. And we've been trying to identify projects that are doing the most good, right, and can spend funds quickly, and sidewalks are a great way to do that. We also worked as part of this consolidated plan. We attended a disability advisory board meeting in addition to some of the other public hearings that we had to get input on where to best spend this money.
Thanks.
Other questions or comments? Mr. Tisdale?
Yeah, just having lived in Oak Ridge for 56 years, one thing that's different now we used to not, and that we don't have that many local builders. You know, I can remember when we had Lenhart and we had the Galloway Brothers and we had Seward Norris and on. We had numerous. And now I wish there was a way we could somehow incentivize local builders. And I don't know how you do that. That's probably a subject for a work session. But it's something that's very different now from my past experience in the city.
Other comments or questions? Mr. Dodson?
Yeah, just a very brief question. So this is going to go to sidewalk restoration. Is that correct? And you can go ahead.
Yes, for this next year's funding.
And have we pinpointed the specific location for that?
Right now, our intended location, because we have to include that in our planning documents, is Highland Avenue and West Outer Drive, adjacent to the Children's Museum.
I guess my next question is, and I may already know the answer, but Groves Park Commons, are those city-owned sidewalks or are those owned by the development?
Those are not maintained by the city at this point. I'll also say for these funds in particular, they are required to be used in low to moderate income census tracts, which Groves Park Commons would not be in one.
It's worth asking. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hang on. Mr. Hammond?
Quick question, says the total funding is $197,000. The public facility infrastructure improvements are $195,000 of the $197,000. When you say sidewalk improvements, is that the $195,000 of the $197,000? Or is that some part of the $195,000? And if so, about how much of the $195,000 do you anticipate those sidewalks to be?
The $195 would all be sidewalks, and that additional $2,000 or so is for administrative costs, like ads and things like that, that we run in conjunction with the grant. But
Okay.
that $195 is fully for that sidewalk project.
Okay, and so that's the funding for this year, and forgive me for not remembering this, but is this part of a 3-year run, or is it, I know we have to say what we're going to do each year, but the funding,
So that $197,000 or so is for this year, and then
Correct.
we will get similar amounts of funding in the following 2 years. So around $600,000 total over that 3 years.
Okay.
But we don't know, the federal government uses some kind of formula to identify how much we get each year, so we don't know what those next 2 years are gonna look like yet.
correct, any sense of what the priority will be over the next couple of years? Like this year it's sidewalks, is that with another particular type of focus in mind next year or the year after?
The two other, we have identified potential future sidewalk projects, and then we've also been working with the Recreation and Parks Department to see where that, $200,000 or so may be most beneficial. Again, making sure that it is in a low to moderate income census tract. And then we've looked at other things like the ADA transition plan, where is our greatest need, things of that nature. And we have public hearings too, to help identify what good projects may be.
Okay, how's the public input captured? Is it noted somewhere, hey, here are the things that, the citizens in these areas said they wanted, and here's what we're thinking? How is that incorporated into the conversation and then reflected as part of?
There is a section in this plan, which is quite long, but there is a section in the plan for public comment to be captured. We had 3 different public hearings as part of the consolidated plan process. One was just an evening time public hearing at the library. One was immediately following a Disability Advisory Board meeting, and then one was immediately following a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce's Housing Committee. So we tried to position meetings at times where people could come, and then also with certain groups that we wanted to get input from specifically.
Thank you.
Oh, Ms. Smith?
Now, is this meeting supposed to be a public hearing or a public comment opportunity also?
Yes, and
Okay.
I
I just
failed
wanted
to remember
make-
that until right now,
I
but
just
yes.
wanted to make sure that it happened.
We are
if it
intended to
was
have a public
required.
hearing on this at
Thank
this
you.
time.
Any other comments right now from Ms. Williams? Okay, motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Is anyone in the audience wishing to address council on this matter? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, keep saying aye. Okay, so we're back on the motion to approve. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we're on the board.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the resolution is adopted. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A
Give Ms.
resolution.
Williams a breath.
Yeah. A resolution approving an updated compensation plan effective July 5th, 2026, which implements a minimum 3% cost of living adjustment, reclassifications, and new job positions, all is incorporated into the approved fiscal year 2027 budget.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Alt?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Earlier this evening, you all approved the fiscal year '27 budget. So now we're trying to make preparations to implement that. So that's what this item does. This takes primarily three things and incorporates it into the new compensation plan, as previously stated. It includes the 3% cost of living adjustment. It includes the expansion of the step system from the current 14 plus final to 20 total steps. It also incorporates the pay grade changes that were discussed previously, predominantly within the Planning and Development Department, Recreation and Parks Department, and Public Works Department. All of those changes were previously reviewed by the Compensation Committee, who unanimously voted to recommend approval to the full council. This item was also reviewed by the Personnel Advisory Board, who also unanimously agreed to approve the item. Happy to take any questions.
Questions or comments from Mr. Alt?
Everything went
Mr. Hope, and why don't you elaborate on that just a minute?
Yeah, the Compensation Committee met, and we had unanimous approval through this. Very good presentation by Mr. Alt. It's the second year of our 3-year plan to review all departments within the city, and so everything was online. This year, there was quite a few changes and some classifications, just trying to streamline those. And the biggest implementation is going from the 14-step to the 20-step program. It will help us for our long-term, longer tenured employees.
Thank you, Mr. Dodson.
Yeah. Going from 15 to 20, that was going to include, how many employees did you mention?
Currently, we have about 30 employees who are already at the top or will hit the top of their pay grade this year. So that's about 30 people that, looking ahead to FY '27, we're not going to be eligible for a step increase, who will now be eligible for step increases.
And what will that cost?
I believe the figure was in the ballpark just to implement and allow those people to get an additional step. It was a little shy of $30,000.
Very, very inexpensive to do something good for those people, so thank you, Eric.
Okay, absolutely.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, just from having done performance appraisals in my previous job years ago, the step increases were it's great because you benefit both the supervisors and their capability to move people, and also the fact that you've got more steps for long-term employees for their benefit. So it's really, really great. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Alt? Seeing none, we're on the board. The motion is to approve.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the resolution is approved. Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
A resolution approving the classification plan for fiscal year 2027.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Alt.
Thank you, sir. This is the companion piece to the item we just approved. Our ordinance states that we maintain 2 documents, a compensation plan and a classification plan. So once again, this incorporates the positional changes that have been previously discussed. The classification plan lists each position in the city, its assigned pay grade, as well as its FLSA exempt or non-exempt status. Besides the proposed changes to specific positions' pay grades, there are no changes to exempt status within the document. All of those positional changes were, as previously stated, reviewed by the Compensation Committee and unanimously approved. This item was also reviewed by the Personnel Advisory Board and unanimously approved. Happy to take any questions.
Questions for Mr. Alt? Okay. A motion is to approve, and we're on the board again.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Alt.
A resolution amending the contract with Waste Connections of Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, to account for recycling services for fire stations 1, 2, and 4, haul charges for a convenience center glass recycling container, increased frequency of rate adjustment for residential locations from annual to semi-annual, and a simplified calculation for the number of residential customers.
Moving second, Ms. Atkins.
Mayor and council members, as you know, this is a resolution to extend the Waste Connections contract for another 5 years. It was taken to the Budget and Finance Committee and received favorably. We would have let the city manager sign the extension of the contract as currently written, but with the amendments, we wanted to ensure that you were able to approve all of those. Typically, if we just add a cart or something, we'll do that as a simple amendment. However, this year, more than anything was the change from the annual house count to the semi-annual, and it's just the difference in how Oak Ridge has grown over the past few years. Just pulling up, going from FY '25 to '26, the household count grew 0.34%. However, this current year, fiscal year '26 moving into '27, it has gone up 2.2%. So a significant change, almost a difference there of about, 400 or 500 additional households that they're serving. And so that's why they had asked if they could have, had asked for quarterly, and we agreed on the semi-annual. And so the count will come from our utility business office. It is a count that we provide based on our customers. But that's the most significant change. One of the others that we did add was with EQUAB this year and the project that they worked on. Glass recycling was very important to the residents of Oak Ridge. And at this time, we can't add it at the household. However, Waste Connections has agreed to put a container at the convenience center located along Oak Ridge Turnpike for people to be able to take their glass there, and then as it gets full, they will haul it to Blount County, and it will be recycled there to be put back into like the asphalt and for aggregate and stuff. So that's the best solution, the most cost-effective at this time for the Oak Ridge residents. So those are the most significant changes. One of the things that got brought up during Budget and Finance was concerning the noise. And so I have actually spoken with their regional director as well as their project superintendent for ours, and we spoke a little bit. And so one of the things, I guess, with the concerns with the noise in the morning is that Chestnut Ridge, which is not operated by Waste Connections, it's operated by Waste Management, is open from 7 a.m. until 4:30. And so the big concern is just making sure that they can get all of their trash trucks through, I guess, the weigh scales, because they close, like I said, at 4:30. So they try to ensure that they're able to meet all of our needs within our community and then get them there and through and weighed, by 4:15, 4:20. And then the big issue, what he felt like could be causing some concerns with noise, would be the roll-offs, just backing up, with the beeps that are required now through OSHA, and then also the picking up of roll-offs in the morning. So he was going to work with some of that to try to to have them prepare, I guess, the afternoon ahead to try to have some of that equipment already on the trucks and stuff to prevent them from doing it in the early hours of the morning. Because he said the residential, the actual, the ones that go into the residential areas to pick up the trash don't get there until 6:30 in the morning. And the first thing they do is have a safety briefing, so they don't get started until, or don't even leave the facility till 6:45, 7 o'clock. So he thinks it's the roll-offs, them coming in to go out and to move those around, and then to go out into the community to haul those. So again.
Oh, I would welcome him to go over to Miko Lane about 3:30 in the morning
Okay.
And he can hear and see exactly what's going on.
And that at 3:30 was coming from Waste Connections?
I think so.
Okay, because he acted like they didn't have any staff on site until 5 o'clock in the morning. He said that the earliest that the staff comes
all right.
in is at 5 o'clock, is what he mentioned to me today. And then the residential, trash collectors come in then at 6:30.
We'll
So-
check then.
So he, like I said, his concern was the roll-off, the ones that were coming in and moving things around at 5 in the morning. But he said that they would try to have a meeting and discuss that and see what they could do to ensure that anything that could be done in the afternoon was done to prepare for the next morning.
Mr. Dotson?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for taking action on the glass recycling. We sat here and we heard the Citizens Advisory Council come before council, and that was their project. And that just shows you that the city of Oak Ridge is listening, and I appreciate that, and hopefully we can communicate that back to members of that committee, because I think they would love to hear it. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And we'll continue to look for other options to be able to, for glass collection and other maybe options for hauling. But right now, that was just, it gave us the opportunity and was the most cost-effective for the city.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, I still would like to request that we move the importance of the Clifton Circle people's complaints up about noise coming from that area, because they still talk to me and they still say that they have a significant noise problem, whether it's coming from Waste Connections or Noble Metals. We should respond to that.
Okay. Yes, and I think Mr. Pessmer had asked that we have an official meeting, but knowing that we were going to have this discussion tonight with council, I did want to address those concerns and talk to them about that.
Okay. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, the concerns on Clifton Circle start at 3 a.m. now, too. It's not strictly at 5, but so somebody's backing up vehicles early in the morning.
Okay, well, I'll check, but that's what he had told me this morning, so I'll verify.
And when you say he, who is he?
He is basically the superintendent or the manager of the local office of the convenience
Is
center.
anybody here from Waste Connections?
No, but he was willing to come and speak, and I didn't figure
He
tonight.
should have been here.
Well, I apologize for that. That was my fault. He offered, and I actually was thinking a July work session. I was thinking it would be more of a work session, which you would
all
want
right,
to hear
that's
him.
fine. By the way, what is the most senior manager they have at their drop station here?
I think Kyle may be it. I know that, so Joshua Metcalf is the other one that's the regional, and he kind of oversees this area. And I've met with him a couple of times, just because we've met when we've talked about the brush pickup and leaves and things of that sort. However, he's not just here on site, whereas Kyle is actually in, at the convenience center. So he's overseeing, he's like the one that's responding to all our emails and following up with the maps and all that. And to also talk about that with the leaf pickup, I know we were delayed this year and there were some concerns. And that was the other thing we worked through as we were talking about the contract, is they're going to add an additional truck this year. And so that way that in those heavier areas where there's more leaves, they'll be able to stay on track. And then he's also going to try to do a better job, because he said that they didn't calculate and give themselves enough time, that there's just so many leaves in the areas that are mature and heavily developed that it just took them a lot longer than they anticipated and I guess provided for us. So we were extremely behind when it came to the leaf pickup.
Ms. Hensley, go ahead.
Yeah, just a related comment. My phone number, my cell number is one digit different than Waste Connections. And I get calls from Knox County complaining about Waste Connections, and so it's.
You might want to get a new number.
No, I don't mind. It gives me, I can vent.
Mr. Hope?
Yeah. Terry, thank you very much for all the work on this. I'm going to continue to vote no against this contract and contract extension. I voted no against the original contract. I just think a 20-year contract commitment to one company without being able to sit down and seriously talk about and renegotiate this contract throughout that period is just not good decisions for us. So that's just my personal opinion, no reflection on the hard work you've done.
Other comments? I think it would be, I think it would be helpful if representatives from Waste Connections were at a
Yeah, so
coming
Mayor,
work
just,
session.
just a couple things in regards to that. So if you take a look at the resolution that's before you, we did add a section there that says, be further resolved that the city manager is directed to enter into discussions with Waste Connections to address the recent noise complaints and amend the contract as appropriate to alleviate the noise complaints, issues such as addressing internal operations hours, a convenience center, et cetera. Carrie was, meeting with Kyle, who is our local representative. Josh Metcalf is their regional manager. We've met with him before when we've had these type of issues. So this is just the start of us having broader conversations of dealing with the noise and the other things. They are happy to come in and do a presentation to you at any time, through the year to kind of talk about where they're at and have you ask questions. That's something that they've offered to do numerous times. They just haven't been here recently. So if you would like them to come to a work session or anything, we would be glad to invite them.
All right. Other questions or comments? The motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Six ayes, 1 no.
And the resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Item E, we actually inadvertently got on the agenda for consent and on resolution, so you've already passed that as part of the consent agenda. So we can.
Item E's already been, that's
Yes,
correct.
sir, we can remove item E. It was a
right.
duplicate.
Once again, thank you, Ms. Hagan.
A resolution authorizing the naming of the new water treatment plant in honor of former Public Works Director Shara McWaters.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I think this is extremely important, and she is missed tremendously, and will not be forgotten. And you're a worthy successor, by the way, and we appreciate everything you're doing. Mr. Dodson?
Yes, Ms. Hickman, has her family been notified of this? I would assume they have. I mean, they attended several meetings when she was here and after she was, and I would really like to see if we can notify them, because this is a great honor, and she deserves this, and her family does as well, so,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, who had the good idea of doing this? I'd like to thank you for that, whoever it is.
Roger Flynn started the process.
Okay, that's great. I really appreciate that. It's an excellent idea. And we should invite Shira's family.
Oh, absolutely.
At
Yeah.
the time that it's officially done with picture opportunities and so forth would be the best time. So.
We're working on that list now, so,
Good.
and he's
Thank
on
you.
there, yeah.
All right, the motion is to approve. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. There are none opposed, and it is adopted. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing the city to apply for and accept, if awarded, a grant through the Appalachian Regional Commission to supplement funding of Horizon Center Electric Substation in the maximum amount of $2 million with a 100% local match requirement.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Bye.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is requesting the approval to apply for Appalachian Regional Commission ARC grant that would help fund and offset the funding for a Horizon Center substation that would meet the need for Horizon, the development that will be happening around the Horizon Center. So the increasing demand of the power around that area has warranted a critical need for the construction of a new substation that would definitely meet the current need that's being asked over there right now and potential future needs around that park. Now, the grant, as stated, would need a 100% match of $2 million. And that $2 million would be coming from the developers that will be developing that park. And the total cost of that substation is well exceeds $12 million. It's actually in the neighborhood of $18 million. And that cost would be, that match would be from those developers, and we're currently working on construction contract with them to where they would, to insulate our current ratepayers from having to
All right.
foot that bill.
Now, Mr. By, I want you to say that one more time.
Correct.
No, and I'm serious.
Right.
I'm serious. And so that everybody understands
Right.
that this match, for a very needed project, there's no question about that.
Correct. Yeah.
But the cost of this particular one is going to be borne by the companies that are going to be benefiting from the additional capacity that we're adding.
That is correct.
Does
Yes, sir.
everybody understand that?
So no current ratepayers will help support the construction of the substation. It will all come from the industry that is planning on setting up shop over there.
Other questions for Mr. By? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
Seven ayes, 0 noes.
And the resolution is adopted. Next resolution, Madam Clerk.
A resolution awarding a contract to Osmos Utility Services Incorporated, Atlanta, Georgia, for an electric asset survey in an amount not to exceed $212,025.
Moved and seconded. Mr. By?
Mayor and council, staff is requesting the approval to award Osmos Utility Services, Inc. To a contract to do an asset survey for our electrical infrastructure. The purpose of this survey is to establish an accurate and field-verified baseline for our electric system that would include poles, transformers, and help verify maps that we have that may be outdated or inaccurate. While this contractor is out there, they will also go to every single pole, GPS the pole, and do a full inventory of what's on at that location. It will also look at the health of that asset to document that and make sure that it's set up in a priority list for us to maintain or replace it or bring it up to date. I know this has also been a concern that we've heard quite a few times. It will also identify areas where we have double poles, that we can have a list of those where they are so we can have a plan or get those removed. What this survey will also do is get an accurate count of all the communication companies that are on our poles and get an accurate count so we can make sure they're billed accurately and help correct our billing or potential billing errors or things of that nature. This will, at the end of this study, and once we get all these accurate counts, based on the lost revenue that we may be potentially getting from that study, we think that this work will help pay itself back within a few years once all those counts are accurate. The other thing that will help us also do is get a baseline for to get a baseline for our long-range plan as far as maintenance, help with reliability, grid resiliency, and also grid modernization. This was discussed in the Budget and Finance Committee meeting and received a favorable recommendation.
Any questions for Mr. By, or comments? Seeing none, the motion is to approve.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually surprised that we don't have a good inventory of the poles on a continuing basis, and that's just one of those things that hopefully presumably one existed at some point, but just knowing where poles are and what they're supposed to be doing is important. but I'm really glad to see the inventory of the third parties that are using our polls, because that's a major potential source of revenue, as well as understanding what the liabilities are of having those people on the poll. And so I'm glad to see we're doing this.
One comment.
Mr. Tinsley?
Yeah, in the Budget and Finance Committee, you also mentioned that there's doubles out there too, where two polls exist where we only need one. And
That is correct.
that'll get corrected here also.
That is correct. So the plan is to get an inventory of all that. So, with some of the contracts that we have with some of these communication companies, for example, don't want any names, but whenever we install a new pole and transfer our electrical infrastructure, they are supposed to be, they get notified, and they have 60 days to move from that old pole to the new pole. But after 60 days, according to the contract, now it's their job, once they transfer, that they remove the old pole. So we just haven't been tracking that and trying to enforce them to do that. So this will help us bring them to the table and also try to fix those issues.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. By? Seeing none, motion is to approve, and we're on the board.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
And the resolution is adopted. Next resolution, Madam Clerk.
A resolution awarding a contract to Dark Horse Vegetation Management LLC, Sunbright, Tennessee, for the Electric Department's vegetation management services for fiscal year 2027 and fiscal year 2028 in an amount not to exceed $2,584,832.
Moved and seconded. Did this item go before the Budget and Finance Committee?
No, sir, it has not.
Why not?
So whenever we had the Budget Finance Committee meeting, I know we were going through the first hearing of the budget. And I believe there was quite a few items on there that for the sake of time.
Yeah, this was competitively bid, and we had a budget presentation. One of the things that we want to do with the Budget and Finance Committee is make sure that we're really digging deeper into some of those budget items and talking about policy and everything. So we had an extremely long Budget and Finance Committee. So since this was publicly bid through a procurement process and there was one bidder, we just didn't feel like there was.
Okay, is there anyone, this is a $2,584,832 contract. Is there anybody here from Dark Horse Vegetation Management Company? And what this company is, have they done anything for us before?
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. They've worked for us within the last 12 months, and we have been satisfied with their work, sir.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I'll comment that Budget and Finance Committee meeting did meet at some point and mentioned, I remember this company came up in discussion. I don't know that Mr. Hensley was there, and I wasn't at the last Budget and Finance Committee meeting, so I can't speak for what happened then. But there was some time that we heard the name of this company, and they were coming in to do something else, I guess. I don't remember what it was. And we understood that they had a good reputation in the region. But I'd like to clarify that I'd like to understand better what the scope of this particular contract is. Is this replacing the work done by the company formerly known as Sealbach?
That is correct.
Okay, so this is a new company doing that, the dangerous right-of-way management involving, work on power lines or trees close to power lines.
That is correct.
And this is a 2-year contract?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm pleased to know that there's somebody else besides that one company that is doing the whole Southeast doing that work. So I hope it works out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, looking at the document, so, all right, their bid is $1,284,000 a year, and it's for 2 years.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Well, on the abstract of the bids, it says that it's $1,284,832.
That is correct, yes.
So we're being asked to approve a contract for $2,584,832.
That is correct. So if you will allow me to.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
asking.
So this is a bid that was publicly advertised, and we had a pre-bid meeting where two companies showed up, and they were one of those companies that showed up. And whenever it went out for publicly for bid and came back, there was only one bidder, which was Dark Horse. So the way our tree trimming program is laid out is we have what we call zone work, which is basically where the city of Oak Ridge is divided into, and if you just take Illinois, which separates the Zone 1 and Zone 2. So Zone 1 bid is the west end of town, which is where they're basically pruning, and Zone 2 is the east end of town. So every other year, one side of town is taken care of through the tree pruning program. And it takes care of our subtransmission lines, our distribution lines, and it helps improve our required clearances, improve reliability, and reduce outage risks, and uses industry's best practices to promote the health of the trees. And that's the part that is $1,284,832. The other amount that is on top of that, which is approximately $1.3 million, is what we called hourly work. And that amount, if you look at the bid abstract, it has hourly numbers of different equipments and personnel, which, in the way we came up with that approximate amount of $1.3 million is based on hourly work that was done within the last 2 years. And what hourly work covers is it provides us the flexibility needed to address vegetation management where it's needed. That's where we pull the crews that during the storms or unseen circumstances, like what happened earlier this afternoon on North Tulane, and during emergencies, and it also helps clean up trees affecting electrical facilities. And even though that amount is there, it doesn't mean it would be spent even if it's not needed. So it's just on an as-needed basis and would not be spent if the needs is not there. And if the funds are not available, it wouldn't be spent as well.
Mr. Pessmer.
Yeah, Mayor, if I might make a suggestion, there's no burning need to actually pass this tonight. If you would prefer, we can take this back to the Budget and Finance Committee and
There's a
go
cold
into it.
breeze blowing, Mr. Pessmer. I would suggest that's a good idea.
Is go into a little bit deeper and make sure that they have a full understanding of everything that's going on, so.
Okay. Thank you. Need a motion? Motion to defer.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Our next item of business are appearance of citizens. Oh, and by the way, whenever it's here, whether it's July or August, I would suggest they be here. Public comments by citizens. Citizens shall be permitted to address City Council about matters that are not on the formal agenda. Any citizen wishing to do so shall raise your hand and proceed to the lectern. And after recognition, you will state your name, full address, and the purpose of your appearance before council. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes and shall relate to matters of city business. They shall not generally result in a formal response or action at the time of the presentation, because in most cases, neither the council nor the staff will be prepared to respond effectively. However, I may answer the questions or direct the city manager to do so, or the city manager may be requested to work with the citizen with regard to the matter. Statements that are purely political in nature will not be allowed. such as campaign speeches or announcements of candidacy for office, nor will announcements of civic or social event that is unrelated to city business. Are there members of the audience that wish to address council? All right, if you all would just come up, you can. Thank you very much for being here, and if you would, state your name and address, please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Michael Martin. I live at 102 Curie Lane in Groves Park Commons.
Okay, Mr. Martin.
Good evening. For nearly 2 decades, residents in our neighborhood have lived without paved roads. During that time, we have collectively paid approximately $1 million in real estate taxes. Despite that, we still do not have one of the most basic municipal services, which is properly paved roads. Over the past 2 years, residents have consistently brought this issue to the city's attention. We've followed every step asked of us by the city, including attending meetings, speaking publicly, submitting requests, and communicating directly with city staff. However, there has been no resolution and no clear path forward. Instead, we've encountered ongoing redirection and delays, mostly from both the city attorney's office and the city manager's office, to include suggesting we reach out to our HOA, or reach out to former developers of Groves Park, or reach out to the attorneys representing the financial institution holding the bond, and to processes that do not address the immediate issue. Meanwhile, the conditions in our neighborhood continue to deteriorate. To be clear, the only reason we are all here facing this issue is the failure of the city of Oak Ridge. The city had the authority, the funding, and the established process to pave our roads and see this through. However, today, tax-paying residents are left without basic infrastructure that this process was guaranteed to deliver. Apparently, the latest positions from the city are: 1, the roads do not meet city standards for acceptance. However, if roads like Tuskegee Drive, Tulsa Road, Rutgers Avenue, and Lafayette Drive are just a few examples of the standards that represent the standard, then it is reasonable to expect that our roads should be addressed. Number 2, we have also learned from the city that paving might be addressed between the city and the current developers once the neighborhood has been fully built out. As a reminder, the city approved the current developer nearly 5 years ago to build 565 apartments, single-family homes, and cottages. However, the current developer has only completed 9 single-family homes in those same 5 years. At the current pace, Groves Park Commons' full build-out will be completed in the year 2304. That's 278 years from now. This is ultimately about basic infrastructure and safety. Residents, families, children, individuals with disabilities, school bus transportation, and emergency service continue to use roads that are incomplete, non-ADA compliant, and unsafe. There is also a matter of consistency, fairness, and expectations. Residents pay taxes with the reasonable understanding that essential services will be provided. Groves Park residents have been extremely patient and engaged in good faith. At this point, we need clarity and action. Waiting indefinitely is not a solution. It simply extends the problem that has already gone unresolved for far too long.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Your time's expired. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Kirill Matusevich. I live at 135 E Westcott Overlook.
One more time, please.
135
Know the name.
Kirill Matusevich. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I come before you tonight not with anger, but with a solemn and urgent request. The residents of Groves Park have long lived with an unmet promise: our neighborhood roads. When our community was first developed, a bond was issued to guarantee this essential infrastructure. That bond, intended to secure our roads, was erroneously allowed to expire, even as the funds were held by Commerce Bank for many years. We have sought accountability. The city has acknowledged its oversight and formally requested the bank to fulfill its obligation. The bank has refused, citing the city's inaction. This is not merely a technical matter, it's a question of fairness, of responsibility, and of basic public service. Consider this: Groves Park residents have collectively paid that nearly $1 million in property taxes, and yet are denied a service as basic as paved roads. The cost to remedy this, about $150,000, has already been set aside. So I'm not asking for new money. This money is there. We are not asking for the funds to be raised or redirected in any capacity. This responsibility lies not with the residents, but with past oversights of the city. Roads are more than asphalt and gravel. They are the arteries of our community, essential for safety, for emergency services, and for all the well-being of every neighbor. Let this be a moment remembered not for delay, not for excuses, not for neglect of a few, but for action. Let it be a moment when the city stands with its residents, when fairness is honored, and when promises made are promises kept. We are not here to ask for privilege. We ask only for what is right. We ask only for what is just, and we ask most of all that the voices of our community be heard and heeded. The eyes of our neighbors are upon us. The safety of our children, the security of our streets, and the trust of our community depend on what is done here today. Our founding fathers repeatedly taught that government exists for the common benefit of the people, and that its authority is derived from the people themselves. George Mason wrote that public officials are trustees and servants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. David Ramba, 138 Groves Park Boulevard East. I'm here to speak on...
Ramba?
Yes, R-O-M-B-A.
Thank you.
Here to speak on the same thing you've heard a couple of my neighbors speak on, and so I'll keep it fairly brief. But first, I want to ask, we have a lot of neighbors here. If you're in Groves Park Commons, would you please raise your hand, just so Council can see?
There you go.
Just so you guys can see how many of us are here. We've been talking to you on this for quite some time, as has been mentioned. We appreciate what the city has done so far to help us figure out what's going on. So I want to lay out a few things that we know for sure. The bond was allowed to expire in 2018. We can see it disappear from the Planning Commission bond report. And unlike other bonds that have been allowed to expire, there is not a notice of bond expiration. It just disappears. I don't think we know who either chose to let that expire or whose inaction allowed that to expire, but it's indisputable that there was inaction by the city, and that's why these roads are not paved. That leads us to, how do we get these roads paved? They're not up to standard. They're not owned by the city. We know that Commercial Bank owns these roads. We also know, thanks to correspondence between Ms. Rackard and Commercial Bank, that Commercial Bank is willing to quitclaim these roads to the city tomorrow. So that is step one. So I'm here to ask the same thing everybody else has asked, and I'm certain you'll hear from a couple more neighbors that the city works with us to figure out what we can do about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Let's let him get to it.
Mayor, Council, thank you. Those of you that have heard my story before, I appreciate you listening again. I have some pictures. I don't know who wants these.
You give him to the
Here.
clerk. Thank you.
I'm speaking from the heart. These guys had their notes and their phones. I've been in Oak Ridge 15 months.
You need to
My
name
name?
and address.
I'm sorry. Ruth Ritchie, R-I-T-C-H-I-E. My address is 110 Zillard Street in the Groves Park Commons. We've been in Oak Ridge 15 months now, and we're here because of my husband's disability. My husband's Chuck, in the wheelchair back here. He is a 100% permanent and totally disabled Vietnam vet. We moved to Oak Ridge for the convenience of not only the residents, but the hospitals and the doctors and everything that we could get access to here in the Oak Ridge area. The Veterans Administration, because I am his 100% caregiver on a monthly basis, I get no-knock visits, no-knock phone calls. Mentally, he's very competent. He has no problem, but mobility is pretty much zero. The man lives in a wheelchair or a recliner. The reason we moved into the home that we did is because it's all living on one level. It has a front porch and a back porch, and I have easy access. I'm no spring chicken, but he and I worked for 5 months, 5 long months. He suffered a hemorrhagic brain bleed, and if you're aware of what those are, 90% of the people that experience this brain bleed do not survive. We fought very hard. We're still fighting. I cannot take him down the end of my street. I cannot cross my street with him in a motorized wheelchair. I can't use the park across the street from me because none of our streets are ADA compliant. And the reason they're not ADA compliant, which was brought to my attention by the Veterans Administration, is because the streets aren't paved. Again, I don't have all the history that these gentlemen have, but I do have a heartfelt plea. I fought with my husband now, like I said. He and I have fought this battle for 5 months, trying to get him the mobility that he would be out of an institution. I have him at home. We love Oak Ridge. Please, we're not asking, like the gentleman said, we're not asking for money. It's there somewhere. But I would like to be able to use the streets, the park, use the motorized wheelchair, help with the depression, help with the things that he's having to deal with on a daily basis, and be able to get him to cross the street. I can't even go to my mailbox. He cannot be physically left alone because if we have an emergency, he can't leave the house. He has no one with him. I can't get to my mailboxes now because the streets are torn up so bad. I have to physically put him in the car, drive the car to the community mailbox, and get on the mail. I know my time's probably up, but I would appreciate you guys looking at the pictures. I took pictures of the exact areas that I'm dealing with, and I'd appreciate any help.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ritchie.
Thank you.
Is there any other member of the audience wishing to address council? Seeing none, we'll move on.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, you can, Mr. Hensley.
I'd like to again ask the city manager and the legal department to try to be proactive on this and find a solution. I mean, we've heard from these people now for months, and it's pretty unacceptable that they pay taxes and our utilities and structures are not adequate. Thanks.
I would say that that's a unanimous suggestion.
Yeah, I would agree, and I certainly want to overstep it, but is there no response now? I mean, it doesn't have to be an answer, but a response. Do we not have one? Again, I recognize it's been going on, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to this and not even respond. So I'll say something.
Well, I will tell you what I know, and that is that it's complicated, and that's not making an excuse, but the roads are owned by the bank. The developer who purchased the 38 lots from the bank is of the opinion that they are not responsible for improving the roads. It is correct to say that the city allowed the bond to lapse. I don't know what caused that. So that's what I know, and I also know that I believe there is mediation between the development partners. I understood from legal department there was a lawsuit between them, but was told that they are mediating amongst themselves, one partner trying to get rid of another partner. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. And, we need to get with the legal department to understand more about it and who's actually responsible.
Sure. Is it a possibility, a way to get at least keeping us updated? I thought this was done, to be honest. I had not been over there, or at least it was moving towards something. So maybe just an update on for us, so that if someone is dealing with the things that have been expressed, then we at least know about it and can drive by. I mean, I'm right there at Oak Valley, literally across the bushes, and I would have at least driven by to see sort of what's going on, and I'm going to do that. As a matter of fact, when I leave here, I'm going to drive over there. Might be dark, may not see much, but I may feel the roads if that's what they're talking about. But I say that to say at least if citizens are dealing with these kind of things, we we like to know. So whatever updates that we can get, or whatever pace we can, I would really appreciate that.
And I will say, on behalf of legal, obviously, I am not Ms. Rackard, and I am filling in for Ms. Rackard, and I was not briefed on this just because we didn't anticipate who would be coming to citizen comment. But I know Ms. Rackard has been working on this issue, and as well as incorporating our other staff attorney, Sarah Gerard. Sarah has been involved with this issue as well. There's so many issues that, as you all know, the staff attorney position had to be given to 2 attorneys just to be able to cover everything. So Sarah has been more of the point person for that. So I will relay that in the morning to Sarah, and then since Ms. Rackard is out of town, I'll make sure that she has, I took detailed notes of the citizen comments just to brief her when she arrives back into town. So we will make sure that something happens.
I just wanted to
Ms.
comment.
Smith,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to comment that I've gotten the impression at some point, I was told that it wasn't even legal for the city to do something like pave the roads under the current circumstances. And I don't remember what the reason for that was or whatever, but it has been represented as being very complicated, as the city manager indicated. So we're frustrated.
Mr. Dotson and Mr. Hope.
Yeah, I realize it is complicated, and one of the things I wanted just to communicate is if we can't do anything at this point, the line of communication needs to be a constant line of communication between the city of Oak Ridge and the citizens involved in this. So if there's any way we could have some sort of regular meeting with the citizens of Groves Park Commons to keep them updated on what the process is involved and where we are with that process, I think that would go a long way with the citizens, because I think they need to be in the loop, if you will. So I would suggest that if we could keep them updated on a regular basis, and if it's a weekly basis or 2 weeks or a monthly basis, but as much as we possibly can, so they feel like and they know that we're making some progress, or we're trying to help them with this problem. So, thank you.
Mr. Hope?
Yeah, just real quick, I mean, we've asked, and they've shown extremely large amounts of patience through this process. The citizens that live in Groves Park have gone through a lot of different procedures. They've come to at least one work session. They've come to a number of different planning commissions to voice their complaints, to voice their concerns. There's got to be some solution other than he said, she said, he said, she said. At the end of the day, there's got to be a way that we can make this work. So please, any effort you've heard from all of us, sentiments exactly the same. So.
Mr. Teeman, I would suggest that we have an executive session with Ms. Rackard and the staff attorneys on this issue as soon as that can be arranged. And the reason, folks, that we would do that in executive session is that allows us to have an open dialogue, with our attorneys and maintain attorney-client privilege. And we certainly need to establish a baseline on not only what our position is, but what we're going to do going forward. And we will do that after we've had the opportunity to have what I would suggest is going to be a rather robust discussion with our attorneys. And I thank you all. I thank you all for being here. Announcements and scheduling? Any? All right. Requests for new business items or future briefings, I think we just had one. Mr. Heeman, your report?
Yes, sir, Mayor. I'll be brief tonight. Just real quickly, we've had our second group of summer interns that are starting orientation. Spent some time with some of them this morning. Applications for fall internships are available on our website. Please remember the Lavender Festival, Saturday, June 20th in Jackson Square. Our pool patrons can purchase tickets online now. We've discussed some the issue of paving around the pool on Providence Road that will occur shortly, so just be aware of that. It was mentioned earlier that brush pickup is behind schedule. Do want to point out we were asked about the kind of the timing on the DOE building. Just to let you know that these are all approximate times, but DOE is expected to vacate the building at the end of June. We anticipate hearing from GSA by mid-June that they will make an offering at fair market value. The appraisal would then be ordered and sometime received by GSA sometime in August, maybe September. So just to give you a vague timeline of what's going on with the federal building. Also wanted to point out we received a number of pieces of property from Crowett as they dissolved. Those were donated to the city. These will all be used, obviously, for economic development, but all the highlights, the properties you see highlighted in green here have been donated to the city. Have a number of promoted employees, Kevin Tupper in Fire Codes, William Griffith in Fire Codes, George Carroll was promoted to Fire Marshal Assistant Chief. And then we have Nadine Kluwer in engineering, Pablo Vidro in as Parks and Rec crew chief, and Carissa Ebersole, emergency communications dispatcher in the police department. And finally, a few new employees that went through, actually some of these were in orientation today. Alex Farias, police officer, Connor Delaney, police officer, Caleb Dunford, police officer, and Noel Robinson, facility maintenance. Also, some of our other employees are interns. I won't read them all, but you can see all those names. We've got a few of those in the audience. If you're started with us and you're in the audience and your face is up here, if you would raise your hand so we see where you are. We want to thank our interns for coming today, and I think we had one other one that had to leave, but we appreciate our interns. Also, a few new city employees out at Golf Maintenance, Shay Harbor, Isaac Childers, and Brant Garrett. So I think that concludes my report.
Anything else to come before council? I would just say I appreciate everyone's involvement and patience as we work through about 800 pages of material tonight. So thank you for your patience, city staff. Thank you for your